Red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, the Capitol building. These are some of the tried and true components of political campaign branding and logos. But as candidates test the waters or begin to launch bids for the 2020 presidential election, we're seeing some unconventional choices. What's behind that? I spoke to Western New England University political science professor Tim Vercellotti about what political branding is all about.
It is meant to imprint on the voters' minds an image and a message and even a story about a candidate that they absorb. They may not even be aware they're absorbing it, but it then guides the choices they make.
And this is happening in seconds, milliseconds, right? When you look at something?
Absolutely, and it's very subtle and it's very informal in the sense that you're unaware that it's happening, but it is there. A lot of experimental research has shown that even the shortest campaign spots can have an impact.
And you took a look for us at the history of some of this campaign branding, and you want to start with Eisenhower, right?
Right. So television begins to really penetrate American popular culture in the early 1950s, and Madison Avenue ad firms thought, well, we're using this medium effectively to sell soap, to sell toothpaste. What if we tried to sell candidates? Wow. So they approached General Eisenhower, American hero, the mastermind behind the D-Day invasion and the leading candidate for the Republican nomination in 1952, and said, let us use these techniques to introduce you in a different way to the American people. He thought it was very undignified, but he went with it.
Nevertheless went with it.
They got a group of ordinary tourists touring Radio City Music Hall at Rockefeller Center, brought them into NBC, had them record themselves asking questions, tilting their chin up to look up, to suggest they were asking a higher power. And
who would be Eisenhower?
Who would be Eisenhower?
There?
And then he came in and just taped the responses to the questions, and it was very effective. Eisenhower Answers America, the first really good, effective, systematic campaign of ads to sell a candidate.
Did they also come up with the I Like Ike tag, or was that something else?
Oh, they did. And unless you want an earworm that's going to torment you for hours, I won't sing it, but I could, yeah.
So point being there, long history here in the branding of political campaigns, and public service is meant to be this altruistic calling, and yet, as you point out, there's big money attached to it, whether you're hiring a branding firm or you're raising money in a variety of ways. Blue and red, those are colors we know well in the political spectrum, and most often are affiliated with either Republicans or Democrats, but we do see them being used by both sides. So how does that break down?
Well, it's fascinating. So we today tend to associate blue with the Democratic Party, red with the Republican Party, but that has really shifted back and forth over the years. And if you dig out old network news election night coverage, you can see that in some cases the networks were using red for the Democrats, blue for the Republicans. It didn't really get systematic until 2000, and we have stuck with that color scheme since. But in Europe, red tends to represent the liberal political parties today. Blue represents the conservative political parties. So we've sort of flipped it on its ear here in the United States.
And then in more recent years, of course, we see purple, because I always see the blending of the red and the blue, and this is a purple state, this is a red state, a blue state.
That's right.
So we're seeing that color.
Yes.
Now, in the 2020 campaigns, I think we're seeing a shift, and we did see it during the midterms too a bit, with Ocasio-Cortez and the New York 14th. But let's start with Elizabeth Warren here in Massachusetts. She's using kind of the standard dark blue in some of her promotional, but then there's some other colors mixed in there too. What do you think that that's an effort for her to try and do? What is she trying to say with those colors?
I think in some cases, candidates use multiple colors until they see what resonates. And we're seeing Elizabeth Warren using a pale shade of green as well. Green is a color of renewal, of rebirth, of the environment, and so candidates sometimes prefer green. Blue is a calming color, and we've seen many, many shades of blue over the years in the service of candidates as well. So she's mixing a little bit of the old and the new. go there.
And of course, she hasn't come out and said, without a doubt, she's running for 2020 president. She's exploring that possibility. But someone who has come out, a woman who has come out on the Democratic side and said, I am in for 2020, is Kamala Harris in California. And she, interestingly, really attached her campaign branding to Shirley Chisholm in 1972.
That's right.
So what's the story there?
So Shirley Chisholm was the first woman to run for a major party presidential nomination in 1972, also first African American to seek the nomination, congresswoman from Brooklyn. And her signature color was yellow, although her campaign buttons had some red, and it was very much a for the people campaign. And if anyone watched Kamala Harris's campaign announcement on Sunday, it was she kept repeating that this was for the people, this is who we are, the current administration is not who we are. The historical connections are obvious and intentional, and her campaign is happy to lay claim to that.
Is it bold that she's doing that, though, given that Shirley Chisholm didn't win ultimately?
I think it is. I'm not sure if it's bold, but it's certainly an attempt to be inspirational. It's to honor a pioneer in a modern way. And so to say others have come before this particular candidate, have perhaps paved the way for this candidate. And so she's claiming it's almost an ancestry, almost a lineage. And I think observers of American politics would look on Shirley Chisholm with a sense of reverence and respect. And if Kamala Harris can tap into that, I suspect her campaign thinks that's all to the better.
Now, on the Republican side, we know that President Trump has long announced or long contended that he will run for re-election. Sure. We haven't seen a challenger emerge as of yet, but I think the dominant image from that campaign has been the Make America Great Again, whether it's on a hat or on a poster or a billboard. Do you think that he'll stick with that? It worked for him the first time.
I suspect he will. It has become a symbol, a rallying symbol for his base, a more controversial symbol, as we saw in this encounter between the high school students from Covington, Kentucky, and a Native American a few weeks ago. But I think, yes, it is a brand. It is something highly recognizable around the world. And so I suspect his campaign will continue to use that color and that configuration for Make America Great Again.
So we've kind of talked about some candidates adhering to some rules, using those red and blue colors we're familiar with, others going outside those lines, bringing in some different colors. But are there still rules in 2020 when it comes to branding?
It's funny. If you talk to political consultants, and they're a pretty risk-averse group, nobody wants to try that new idea in case it fails. But we saw in 2018 some old saws about color being pushed aside. So the use of black as a background, campaign consultants would say, no, black, dark, menacing. Yet Beto O'Rourke used a black background and white letters for his signs. They proved to be very effective. Purple has long been viewed as the color of royalty and wealth, and if you're running a populist campaign, you'd want to steer clear of purple. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez used purple and yellow to great effect, and of course it led to her upset primary victory and her eventual election to the House. Stacey Abrams in Georgia, the Democrat who ran for governor there, also used a shade of purple. Also periwinkle, which is green for us lay people, and peach in service to the state of Georgia as the peach state. Abrams ran a very effective campaign. Those colors worked for her. Her campaign said she dresses in these colors, and we want colors that she looks good within in terms of a background on stage. And so we're seeing more of that kind of thinking, set aside the conventional wisdom and use what works for the candidate and what may make people remember the candidate.